One of the virtues of a good man is that he protects his family. This is one of my 5 virtues. He needs to be a protector, a provider. He needs to have courage, temperance, and he needs to have faith. And in order to be a protector, you need to know how to fight. But if I were to tell you that there is a way that you as a man and your sons can not only learn how to fight and defend their family, but they can learn some of the best qualities that a man can possess. Qualities like discipline, courage, coachability, dependability, and patience. This is the beauty of martial art. This is what martial art can do to every single one of you out there that is not a confident person, that does not know how to fight.
This is the Nico Lagan Show. Warning. This show contains explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. Real, raw, and shooting you straight. This is the Nico Lagan Show. And now your host, Nico.
Now, one of the virtues of a good man is to be a protector. And in order to be a protector, you need to know how to fight. But if I were to tell you that there is a way that you as a man and your sons can not only learn how to fight and defend their family, but they can learn some of the best qualities that a man can possess. Qualities like discipline, courage, coachability, dependability, and patience. Tell me that this would not be a win-win solution. And this is exactly why today I want to speak about how crucial martial arts are and how they have forged me as a man. This episode of the Nico Lagan Show is brought to you by the Alpha Creator Blueprint. Are you a male content creator on a mission to help other men? Is your content not getting the attention that it deserves? Would you like to increase your views by 10, 100, even 1,000 times? If so, head to the alphacreatorblueprint.com and let us show how we can help you make that happen. So one of the virtues of a good man is that he protects his family. This is one of my 5 virtues. We have, he needs to be a protector, a provider. He needs to have courage, temperance, and he needs to have faith. Those are my 5 virtues of a good man. And it all starts by being a protector. And having courage is also something that martial art can teach you. Let me tell you why. Let me go through my story so that I can put it in perspective for you. And I will tell you why, as a man, you need to know martial arts. You need to know how to defend yourself. And it is something that you need to teach your kids, to teach your boys. Now, that being said, before I start, don't be one of those assholes that believe that because they had a few street fights that you can fight. Don't be one of those assholes that believe that, oh, I'm going to see red and I'm going to knock you out. No, fuck off. If you've never trained, you don't know how to fight. If you've never been in the military, if you've never been in a gym, if you've never been in a place where somebody taught you techniques to fight, you don't know how to fight. Somebody that's trained can destroy you. So please don't be one of those assholes. Put your ego in check and get your ass in a gym where they're going to teach you real techniques that you can use in the real world and not in the fantasy land that you live in. That's number 1. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about martial arts is just to show how, I'm always saying this. I'm always saying that martial art has forged me as a man. And I was thinking this weekend about where we are right now. Josie and I, we're in Colorado. We've been traveling for 8 months now. We've been on the road, and it's amazing to know where we're at compared to where we were just a year ago. We talk to the people that are still in Canada, and it's amazing to know all that we've done over the past 8 months, and it's just a beginning. I'm telling you, where we're going with this is just unfucking believable. But that being said, it all started because of martial art. There is no way in hell that I would have had the mindset that I have today and be where I am today if it wasn't for martial art. And I've had a love for martial arts since I can remember. Even growing up, I I'm sure that there's people out there just like me, grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and I used to idolize Jean-Claude Van Damme. That dude was a god to me. It's 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 arguable that it's real martial art that he does. It is still a guy that made movies, but in real life, he knows martial art. He's not a fighter, but he knows martial art. But he was an idol to me. Like I was looking at him and I was in awe about him, and that's because he knew how to fight. So to me, since I've been a young man, a real man knows how to fight. And you know what? It is not something that was taught by my father. It is not taught something that was taught by my actually by anybody around me. Nobody's ever taught me that. It is something that I automatically assumed in my head that a man needed to know how to fight. And but you know what? I was never pushed in that direction. I played basketball when I was younger, but I've never been pushed in the martial arts scene. I've never been pushed by somebody to say, you need to know how to fight. But I knew back then that it was something that was, at least that I attached to what it was to be a good man. It's not until high school when I moved, when my parent got divorced, I moved to a shitty apartment with my mother and sister right next to the high school, to the new high school I was going to. And it's not until I met my first bully, really, that started beating me up, that I realized how much of a bitch I was, how much of a weakling I was, how much of a coward I was. Like, I remember this guy would beat me up at school, insult me at school, and he would sometimes follow me home. Like he would literally walk behind me until I got home. I remember this time where we were in the staircase of that apartment and he literally beat me up right in the staircase. I was literally feet away from the door where my apartment was. And I remember doing nothing. I remember laying on my back like a bitch, getting punched in the face, and just completely paralyzed by fear. I did not know what to do. All I did is really to do nothing. So I was weak physically, I was weak mentally, I was weak spiritually. I was a fucking coward. And, you know, no matter what, it is a life lesson that I needed to learn. It is something that I needed to go through in order to realize this, but it sucks to go through it. It sucks to get bullied. I have compassion for the people out there that are going through it or that have been through it. And I know something that's for a fact is that it always stays with you. I know it stayed with me. Although we ended up moving, we ended up leaving the place where just had moved. Actually, my mother got a job. My mother's military, or at least she was military. She got a job in Ottawa. We were in Montreal back then, so we're looking at about 3 hours difference, give or take. So we moved. Although I thought I was lucky, I thought I was very lucky that I got to move from where my bully was to a new school. And I don't know if you've ever seen this is a movie from the beginning of the 2000s, so I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's not the greatest of movie, but it's called The New Guy, and it's about this kid that's in high school that's a nerd. He's getting the shit beat out of him all the time, and then at one point he decides to change high schools, and he starts acting tough. He starts putting on a facade like he's a tough guy in order to convince people that he's not a little bitch. And you know what? That's exactly what I did. That is exactly, I took the opportunity that I had to move away from where my bully was to a new high school hours away, and I took that opportunity to start putting on a facade, to start acting tougher than I was, at least tougher than I felt like, because as much as I wasn't getting bullied anymore, as much as I was away from that bully, you never forget the feeling of not being able to defend yourself, knowing that if somebody were to attack you, you would not know what to do. You would not have the skills to defend yourself, and that stays with you. I don't care who you are. If you've been bullied, if you've been beat up, if you've been exposed to the fact that you are a little bitch, it will never leave you. It will never leave you. You might be able to stuff it down as far as you can and to try to ignore it, but in the back of your head it's always going to be there. And this is exactly how it was for me. I went through a couple of years of high school because I ended up quitting 2 years after, actually a year and a half after I moved to the next to the next school. But I still went from 14 to about 20 as somebody that knew that I could get beat up by pretty much anybody. Again, as much as you don't think about it every single day of your life, you know deep down that you are not somebody that can defend themselves. And that, as a man, will play a massive role on your psyche. This will fuck with your head, for lack of a better term. And it did stay with me for years. It stayed with me until I actually went back in. I went back to school. I ended up at the beginning of my 20s. I decided to go back to school, finish my high school, go to college. I discovered the gym because not only was I a victim, I had a victim mentality. I was also a very scrawny kid. I'm 6'1", just under 6'2", and I used to weigh 145 pounds. For my American friends, that's probably about 70 kilos, probably closer to about 68 kilos or so. So I was a very scrawny guy. I was a basketball player, so I was an easy target. But when I went back to school, I finished my high school. I went back to I went to college. I started hitting the gym. I completely changed my mindset. I stopped doing drugs. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I really put everything everything that was not good for me. I removed it from my life, and I decided, you know what? Go back to school, start working out, start putting some muscle on that skinny frame. And at the same time, I started thinking about that bully. I started thinking about how I did not know how to fight. I started thinking about how I needed to learn how to defend myself, and I needed to do something about it. Because at the end of the day, you have two choices. You can stay a victim, you can choose to be a victim, or you can choose to do something about it. Those are your two choices. For anybody out there that's listening to this, to anybody out there that's been bullied, to anybody out there that's being bullied, to any parent that's out there that their kids are being bullied, there's two ways you can deal with it. You can be a victim. You can try to defend your kids if you want. You can try to put it on yourself and try to be the protector. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, you can't be everywhere all the time with your kids. So if your kids have a bully problem, put them in martial art. If you don't know how to fight and you're a man, your job, your duty is to protect your family. You need to be in martial arts because this is the only thing that you can do. It's really be a victim or don't be a victim. Those were my choices, and I decided not to be a victim. And my journey started with a bit of everything because, again, I didn't have somebody to guide me. And we're talking at 20 years ago. The internet wasn't like it was today. You just didn't grab your cell phone and started doing research and find 1,000 million gyms just there on your phone. And back then, 20 years ago, martial arts was not what it was today. Like MMA was not popular like it is today. The UFC was nothing to what it was today. So the gyms weren't popping everywhere like they are today. And I tried a bunch of stuff. I tried taekwondo, I tried judo, I tried boxing, kickboxing, and none of it was really my thing until I found a martial art called Muay Thai, until I found the science of 8 limbs, until I found martial art originating from Thailand, and I fell in love. And what started as a simple, this whole journey started the day I got it beat up, the day I got beat up. It continued when I stepped into that gym in order to learn how to fight. And the only reason I was there was really to learn how to defend myself. And then the next thing you know, and I don't know if he's going to see it, but Crew Jeff Harrison, crazy, crazy motherfucker, one of the best Muay Thai instructor you can actually find. He's the one that initiated me to Muay Thai, and I will be forever, ever grateful to this man. All to say that it changed me, because before I knew it, I was not only practicing Muay Thai to learn how to defend myself, but next thing you know, I was stepping in a ring. Next thing you know, my coach was like, "Hey, bro, I think that you have what it takes to fight. So have you ever considered fighting? Have you ever thought about stepping into a ring? Have you ever thought about maybe taking it to the next level?" And it had never fucking crossed my mind. Nothing. This is not something I've ever considered. And it all started because I wanted to not be a victim anymore. Next thing you knew, I had 10 amateur fight. I had won a North American title um in Iowa. And you know, it, it it just amazes me, me thinking about it, and like me thinking about it now. I went from this scrawny kid that was a victim to a guy winning an amateur championship. I had no intentions of ever becoming a pro. I've never had intentions of becoming a world champion. I was just doing it to prove to myself that I could. This was the whole point of me fighting, was simply to prove to myself that I could do it, that I had what it take, and that I had the balls to step in a ring against somebody that is trying to hurt me. Because at the end of the day, that's all it is. You are fighting in order to, you're fighting somebody else that is also there to do the exact same thing as you. And to me, there's nothing crazier than having two guys that agree to a date. Okay, we're gonna fight on that date. You and I are gonna meet in a ring, and we're gonna punch and kick and elbow and knee each other as hard as we can, and let's see who's the better man. Because this is what it's all about. But you're proving to yourself that you can do something that scares you. Because I'm not somebody that's fought 100 times, man. You look at kids from Thailand. They're fucking 12 years old, 15 years old. They're fighting. You got guys that are in their 20s. They have 200 fights, 300 fights. Those guys are not worried about fighting anymore. It is just the way they live. This is all they know. But I was not like that. I really did it to learn how to defend myself. But the next thing I know, I was in the ring fighting. Next thing I know, I was winning a championship. Next thing I know, I was recognized as a Muay Thai instructor, which we call a crew. And then next thing I know, I was the one coaching fighters. And I got some guys that actually won amateur championships. So it's a full fucking circle. I went from being a victim to actually teaching people how to defend themselves. How fucking crazy is that? When you put it into perspective, it is absolutely fucking nuts. But this is the beauty of martial art. This is what martial art can do to every single one of you out there that is not a confident person, that does not know how to fight. And I'm especially talking about men because, again, I'm going to say it. It is your duty as a man to know how to fight, to know how to defend your family. And martial art is the gateway to that goal. It is how you're going to achieve it. But it's so much more than that. Martial art not only taught me to defend myself, it taught me to be confident. It taught me to be confidence in my skill. You have no idea how confident you can be knowing that you can walk down the street with your girlfriend, your wife, your kids, and you know that you hold the skills in order to be the protector that they need to be able to take care of them. And think about it. Do you think that I'm worried to go talk in front of a crowd when I fought in front of a crowd? What's the worst that's going to happen to me at a convention? If I Let's say I'm at another convention and I'm speaking about what it is to be a man today, what it takes to be a man today. Do you think I'm really that worried about what's gonna happen? What's the worst that's gonna fucking happen? I'm gonna mispronounce a word. Boo fucking hoo hoo. When you stepped into a ring, you had the chance to get your face broken. You had the chance to get knocked out. You had the chance to look like a fucking fool in front of everybody that's there to watch you, and the people that are not there to watch you, that are actually on the other guy's side. So, everything is put into perspective when you're ready to go and face danger, when you're ready to be courageous. You realize that everything else in your life that has you worried, is not that important, really. It is not that big of a fucking deal. So I I'm telling you right now that one of the reasons why I was able to give at my old job, I was able to give presentations in front of clients and try to sell them contracts that would be hundreds of $1,000s, millions of dollars. The fact that I was able to get in front of them and speak about what we did, about the products that we could offer, the confidence came from martial art, came from the fact that I fought in front of people. Martial art taught me confidence. It taught me to be coachable. You know, this is one of the biggest problems that I see with young men today is that they're not coachable, that they will not take advice from an older person. Like, I'm an older guy, I'm in my 40s now. I've lived a very fucked up life. I have the pleasure to have a really crazy mindset where I'm going to try everything I feel like trying. There's nothing much right now that I can tell you that I haven't done or that I haven't done yet. It's just that I'm not there yet, but I will do pretty much everything that I feel like doing. I'm always up for a new opportunity, and this is exactly where my confidence comes from. Like, take last weekend, for example. I was asked last week if I would be the commentator for a MMA league in Quebec, where I'm from, back in Canada. So I've worked with the owner of the league in the past. I've did some Joe Rogan stuff where I was in the ring with the fighters on the microphone and talking to the crowd and interviewing the fighters. But he calls me up not last week saying, "Hey, do you want to do this? We have a show Saturday, which is last Saturday, the one that, like 2 days ago. 1 week's notice. He's asking me, "Hey, bro, are you good to jump on a camera like exactly like I'm doing right now? And are you ready to do this and record it? We're gonna stream the pay-per-view to you. You're gonna be commentating on it, and then we're gonna take your voice, we're gonna put it all together. It's gonna be live for the people that are in the pay-per-view, but we're also signed an agreement with the Fight Network, which is the biggest fight league in, well, the Fight Network is the biggest TV network channel in Canada. And it turns out that what we recorded last weekend, I'm going to end up being on TV because of martial art. And I'm telling you, this is all it started. This is all where it started. The confidence that I have today, that I had to just jump on a stream 1 week's notice and just talk about what I love, all came from the fact that I learned how to fight. I went into a cage and I put it all on the line. This also taught me the discipline that I need. That, again, today I work 10, 12, 14 hours a day. I was up at 2 a.m. this morning, and it's 10:23 where I'm from. I've already worked 8 hours today, and it's not even 10:30. Where do you think that discipline comes from? That discipline comes from martial art. If you want to fight, if you want to get better, if you want to be a more proficient martial artist, even if it's just to defend yourself, you need to go into the gym and fucking learn. You need to put your ego aside and have other people teach you techniques. You need to shut the hell up, be coachable, and pay attention to what people tell you if you want to get better. And discipline is something that you work that I learned during my martial art years, which I still train, obviously, but not as much as I used to because I'm not a fighter anymore. But the point is that it taught me to be disciplined. It taught me to be coachable. It taught me to listen to critiques. It taught me to be very, very hard with myself in a way that if I want to get better, I need to shut the fuck up, get off the couch, and go there. I learned to be dependable because when you're fighting, you do have, as much as a fighter is alone in the cage, alone in the ring, he has a team behind him. There are other training partners that helped him prepare for this. And this is exactly what dependable is. You're part of a family, you're part of a group of men that are fighters themselves, and they depend on you to be there for them when they need you to be a training partner. There's no bullshit, there's no excuses. You show up to the gym and you help them as hard as they helped you when you got ready for your fights. So discipline, coachability, being dependable. The one of the other thing that it taught me is to be patient. My girlfriend can tell you this. I am not a patient man. I am not a fucking patient man. I want everything right now. I don't want to wait. But there is no way to get better at something like martial arts if you don't put in the time. There's no other way. You need to shut the fuck up, get off the couch, and do the work. And through doing the work, through being always at the gym, doing what you're supposed to do, patience will arise. You know, there's an expression that I heard somewhere, I don't remember where, but it's a guy that asks God for patience. And God answers him and he tells him, I cannot teach you patience. But what I can do is to put you in situations where you will learn how to become patient. And this is what martial art has taught me. And don't fucking get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm a very extremely patient person because I am not, but it has taught me the importance of being patient. I know how to play the long game now. Even though that I want it now, I'm capable to delay instant gratification in order to accomplish a dream. And this all comes from martial art. You know, I'm in Colorado right now. We've been here for about 3 weeks. We were in Yuma prior to that. We were in Texas. We were in um, we did Tennessee, we did Virginia, we did everywhere from fucking New York State all the way down to Arizona. And you know what? I'm in Colorado right now because of a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu instructor that reached out to me online, that found me online, and invited me to come up here. And I'm telling you that this is because of martial art. I recorded my first broadcast for the fight show that I was talking about earlier at his gym on Saturday, and this all happened because of martial art. You know, martial art to me is like being part of a brotherhood. I could be anywhere in the world. I could pick up my phone, look at schools where they teach MMA, they teach Muay Thai, they teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, they teach wrestling. I could show up to one of those schools and I will automatically be accepted because of the training that I've received, because of the talent that I have, because of the techniques that I know. Just because I've been in martial art for so long, it's kind of me having a visa to go into any school around the world. Martial art allows me to show up to a gym, be confident in my skills, and meet people right there. I can build relationship based on martial arts just by showing up in martial arts school. So if this doesn't explain to you how important martial art is, how crucial it is, how it can change your life, I don't know what else could. I don't know what else can convince you. So if you're a parent, put your boys into martial art because this is how one they need to defend themselves, they need to learn before they have families because it will be one day their responsibility to protect their family. But if they ever need to deal with a bully, they will know how to defend themselves. You do not deal with a bully by being a victim. You deal with a bully by teaching him that there will be consequences to his action. If he dares to put his hands on you, it is up to you with the skills that you possess to defend yourself and to make him pay. A bully is a coward. He will only attack soft targets. If you know how to defend yourself, he'll do it once and then he'll shut the fuck up and he'll leave you alone. And this is what life is all about. So martial art, again, teach you how to defend yourself, how to protect your family, how to deal with bullies. It will teach you discipline, patience, coachability. It will teach you to be dependable, what it is to be part of a brotherhood, and what it is to be part of a team. So it is a win, 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 win solution. Martial art has literally made me the man that I am today. Martial art has forged me as a man. And on that note, I want to thank every single one of you out there for being on the stream, for commenting on my stuff, for liking the content that I create, because without you guys, none of this is possible. So I want to thank you. I am grateful for every single one of you. And I want also to remind you that the world is changed one man at a time. And it takes just one man to change the world. Peace out.
You've been listening to the Nico Lagan Show. Nico has been involved in the martial arts for 20 years. He's a Muay Thai coach, focus coach, podcaster, and sought-after public speaker. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten some useful and practical information. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Coach Nico Lagan and on YouTube at The Nico Lagan Show. See you next time.